we just kind of didn't tell people, and it was okay. We all met up at the city hall anyway, and we all went inside, and they had this big, long welcoming ceremony for everybody. You know, a pretty cool building, but there were like no chairs. So we were up there, and people eventually sat on the floor. You know, they welcomed us with a speech, and then they had every single person go up. They called us a country at a time, but they were like, okay, now we'll be calling the people from Argentina, and they call every single person in Argentina. Now it's Mexico, and call everybody in Mexico. Now we're gonna do this country, that country. So every single person got called up there by name, which was kind of ridiculous. So it took forever, and of course they were doing it by alphabetical order. So of course the USA went last. No, actually not last. Venezuela went last. But they did this huge, long opening ceremony. You know, shook some hands with some people who were very important looking, but I don't actually know who they were. And then after that, we went for lunch. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We might have walked around a bit and then gone for lunch or something. I'm not sure. I feel like we did something before that, but it wasn't like anything major. It was not, I think it was probably just like walking. And we went for lunch, and you know, beforehand, you know, you're all meeting people, and it's kind of like, oh, you walk around and you talk to a few people, but at lunch, you know, when you actually sat down with people, you really had more conversations with them, and it was actually kind of interesting because about half the people at my table were from New Zealand or Australia, and they're actually like halfway through their exchange. Like one girl said she's been here for 7 months, so maybe a little bit over halfway, but like I don't know why the exchange um, people are different. But anyway, that was actually really cool because, you know, they all understand French, but they all, and, you know, they all had advice for exchange students. Um, but it was all advice for being a new exchange student in Belgium. It wasn't like, oh, and when you're on exchange, do this. And it's like, because that's what I did when I was in, you know, New York, and I came back. No, these guys were like, sorry, these guys were, your Belgian friends will try to drink you under the table because they can hold alcohol a lot better than you. So, one thing that we did say. But, so yeah, it was really fun talking to them. You know, they had a lot of stories, and, you know, we had a few, and we asked questions and things like that. I was actually kind of surprised they didn't serve us a ton of food for lunch. You know, in Belgium usually you get, you know, they bring out a plate and then you finish that with another plate. And this time it was just one plate, and there wasn't actually that much food on it, but it was like a really stereotypical Belgian dish. So these like meatballs, I don't know what they're actually called, but they're like these meatballs and fries. Like how much more Belgian can you get? You know, if we had been drinking beer with the meal, which we weren't because it was a huge Rotary thing, um, and not a little Rotary thing. If we had been drinking beer with the meal, that would be the only way. It could have been a more Belgian meal. So anyway, after lunch we went to the Parliament. We went to see Parliament. So we got to explore this building, and it was like an open house day. Um, and But the cool thing was, I feel like Rotary kind of got in it a little bit more before the other people went, and we got to see, there was this special thing in where is it? Sorry, I want to get this right. Um, the House of Representatives. This room. We all came in, and they had little things on, I don't know how well you can see on there, you can probably look it up, like House of Parliament, House of Representatives, Belgium, room. But anyway, they've got all these little microphones so people can speak, you know, and on the microphones they had hung little banners. I kept mine like this, and you sat with your country. And so we all sat down and heard a speech and stuff, and we're all greeted officially by, you know, some important guy, the Speaker of the Belgian House of Representatives, and he gave us a speech, and we all sat and listened to his speech, and then we all presented one student. I don't know how this one student from every country. I'm not sure how the student was selected, but because I never heard anything out of it from it. But you know, we all had to bring our Rotary flags, you know, from our club, like this, and we all gave one to the Rotary people when we were officially greeted in that super long thing in the morning, where they called every single person. And in this one, they called, you know, they called people down, and one student from every country would bring them all the flags from that country. And you know, some countries, like the USA, they had a huge stack of flags. And there were some countries like South Korea and Thailand where there was only one student. So or you know, there would be something where they only had like 2 or 3 students, so they'd only have one flag. You know, and then they would take a picture with a student who presented the flags to them. The guy did, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Yeah, Speaker of the Belgian House of Representatives. And they all took a picture of him. And some of the pictures looked really cute. And one of the guys, I think it was the guy from South Korea, gave gave this guy a hug. It was so cute. But yeah, anyway, I know a lot of people were kind of falling asleep during that, and I kind of started being drowsy towards the end because, you know, we'd all been walking around and we were all tired and we'd all woken up early, and then we sat down and we listened to this guy talk, you know, but I thought it was super cool. Unfortunately, they didn't let us take pictures of that. So even though we all looked super awesome sitting there all in our Rotary blazers, like all looking all official, I don't have any pictures of that. And I don't have any pictures of this room. There was 2 photographers there, like official photographers, and they were taking a ton of pictures, and I don't know if they're going to be available or not or what, you know, but I hope so, because I would actually like some of those pictures. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Actually, you know, they let us tour the Parliament building before that, and I ended up towards the end of the group because I was taking, you know, a ton of pictures, and I was taking a lot of pictures of like the clocks and the on the mantelpieces in each room because some of them were super cool, and there were also like vases and things. And there's this one guy in a gray suit, and he was like, "Are you fascinated by clocks?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kind of," you know. And then he would like tell me who people in the paintings were on the walls. And he actually only got, or like people who were in the busts, and he only got to tell me a few because I was trying to catch up with the rest of the group and get into this room, you know, but I really wished I could have gone back and taken a little bit more time and had somebody who actually knows what they're talking about explain to me who the people in the pictures were, what kind of room it was, you know, what people did in this room, because that seemed really interesting, and it was really interesting because, you know, you could tell he knew, even though he only said like a few things to me. And he was really cool. I have no idea who he was. Probably somebody super important that I don't know. But he was pretty awesome. And, yeah, that was super cool. I sat right there on the aisle seat. I don't know how well you can see it. I know the lighting in here is kind of bad because this light is flickering, and I probably just totally shaded everything. I'll get a better picture of it later so you can see, but yep, that's where it's at. So yeah, that was Parliament.